Step one on the road to independence went by a lot faster than I anticipated. Yeah, literally 6 hours after I did the video, Premier Smith came out and fixed the legislation for citizens-initiated referenda, or at least put the bill out that's going to do that, and took care of what I was talking about lobbying for step one. I'd like to think I have such a direct influence on Premier Smith, but I suspect it was coincidental timing. But now, independent supporters have got to move on to step two, and there's some big pitfalls coming up here that we've got to watch out for, and that is going prematurely. You get too excited, you move too fast, you can ruin the whole thing. And applies to a number of things in life, but it's going to with a referenda. We can't initiate it yet. And I'm going to explain why, and I'll go into detail. And I'm not saying independent supporters should sit around and do nothing. Quite the contrary. There's a lot that has to be done, in fact. And it has to be done before the referendum gets going in full. There's a lot of misinformation and confusion, too, about how this is going to work or who can initiate it and what's going on. So I want to get through some of that and clear it up, because we're in such a critical time. We have so much support now throughout the West. We've got the means. Let's keep this movement going. We got to keep it focused, like I said before, and keep it rational so we can get where we've got to get on this. We needed to be able to get into a realistic area and getting it going. But if we initiate this too early and we don't have a ground game, we don't have general support going on, what you're going to do is set the movement back by years, if not a decade. We really only get one initial good crack at this. It doesn't mean that a referendum, I guess, necessarily has to be a winning one the first crack, but you got to be close. You got to be competitive. We got to be just shy of it so that there's room to keep people inspired and make the momentum to win the next referendum if another one's coming. But right now, polled support, and we'll see, maybe more polls will come out and maybe it'll change, for independence is getting around 30%. That's not nearly enough. And don't assume that every one of those people, that 1 in 3 people in Alberta who supports independence is necessarily still ready to actually make that mark on a ballot in a referendum. So what do we got to do? Well, it's on us. We have to build that base of support. We have to spread out and make the foundation so this can get rolling. And we've got a bunch of parties stepping up now. We've got different groups springing up. To start with, I mean, people are getting barraged with all these petitions, and they're thinking they're petitions, and they're signing, and they're thinking that it's leading to a referendum. Let's clear up some of that right now. The Alberta Prosperity Project, they've been at this for years, and they've been doing, they've been databasing. They've been saying, register with us, and when the time comes to petition, we'll have that list and we'll be able to get it rolling. It's a good idea. That's the way to do it. That's the way to move ahead. It doesn't mean we're starting the petitioning. It just means we're getting the base together. And some people are putting out, look at that. They've got I believe the last count was 117,000 people registered. That's almost up to the 177,000 that's required to get a referendum going. Again, true, but it's a lot easier to get people to register online than to sign a petition. Remember, a petition, it has to be on paper. It has to be in person. It has to be witnessed. It has to have their address, their name, phone number. Realistically, the number now, if the legislation goes through, as I said, is 177,000 signatures needed to initiate a referendum, I believe. You want to get about 200,000 because a lot of the signatures are going to be disallowed and things like that. And now there's going to be a 120-day period to get those, which makes it much more realistic for groups to get out and do it. But people thinking that Alberta Prosperity Project is getting close. No, they're just databasing. They're nowhere close yet. It's a long ways yet. They're doing the right thing. And now there's all these other groups also putting it out there saying, sign up with us, sign up with us. Well, careful. What they're doing is data mining. And many maybe of the best intent, but the reality is they just want your info so they can keep asking for support, which could be well-meaning, or it could be, unfortunately, grifters come out of the woodwork. Check out the Republican Party for an example. Either way, and I know I don't mean the American one. I mean the weird one that's trying to do a carbon copy. I might as well go into that. It's talking about pitfalls of ruining the independence movement. Let's have this party that's trying to Americanize things when already we've got enough polarized things in the country anyways, and try to make an American-type political party thing saying it's going to push for independence. What it's going to do is split the independence movement. We need to get independent first. Then we can start talking maybe afterwards. I saw it, I believe it was Keith Wilson who put it online and said, for example, Texas. They were independent for 9 years before they joined the United States. So we keep that in mind. Independence first. If indeed an independent province wants to go the American route, the time to lobby for that is after. You do it before, you're going to make it less likely to win the referendum. Now, when somebody goes and starts petitioning with the government, if they formally register, they start the clock ticking, they're registered with Elections Alberta, it'll be a few months at least before the legislation's in so they could do that. Then they got 120 days. And it's hard. There's not much turning back. Why? Why would we want to do that in a month or two if the referendum is going to come in with 30% support? You know who's already pushing for a referendum to be held right away? NDP leader Naheed Nenshi. He's pushing for that. Why? Because he knows if a disorganized bunch of groups and everything try to run in a referendum right now, they'll get slaughtered, maybe come up with 25% support. And that's where all of the other people say, you see, this independence thing is a waste of time. Stop talking about it. Stop doing it. It's over. It's not going to happen. So don't. We can't pull the trigger on this yet. And you've got to stop other people from pushing that, guys. That's part of what's up to us. This has to be truly grassroots. It's bigger than any group, any party. I know that sounds cheesy, but this is the truth of it. And this gets down to a concept I wrote about in my book, and I gave it a lot of speeches about this when I was traveling around. I called it independence ambassadors. If we want to build, a lot of people are flirting with the concept. They're tired of the status quo in Canada. They realize it's screwing the West. They're ready to start looking at ways out. Great. But we still got to pull them in. We got to make it solid. And nobody can speak better than a friend or a family member or a coworker. There's media blowhards like me. There's politicians all over the place. There's columns, all sorts of things. They help build support, but nothing builds that support more than a one-on-one conversation with someone you know and trust. And that's your job. That's what I'm talking about. You have to take it on yourself to be the ambassador, to keep building that foundation. Whether it's around some coworkers or at a sporting event or at your local pub or around family members. And you don't want to turn into a fanatic. You can push people off. It's like anything else. You got to come into it strategically with a plan. Your plan on talking to some people at the right moment, not in the middle of a funeral or something, is to make them embrace the discussion, embrace the thinking of it. I'll hand out one of my favorite conversation starters when it comes to this sort of thing, if you've taken this on to help build that support, is start the conversation asking somebody about a hypothetical situation. Imagine Canada was 10 provinces. They were all independent already. And some group of leaders and everything said, you know what, we've got to get these 10 provinces together into a federation. We'd be much stronger. We'd be a bigger economic unit. We'd have more clout. We'd have more, access to coastlines, all these things, if we form this federation. If you were in that position in an independent Alberta or Saskatchewan, would you enter their confederation if they were offering the deal we have now? Would you, as an independent province, say, yeah, I want to join where I'll be underrepresented in the Senate, where Central Canada will control now your province, your resources, where other provinces will block you from being able to get your resources to a coastline, where you will be, derided for asking for sovereign rights and provincial rights out here, whereas in Quebec it's called a right. Why would you join that imbalanced country? Nobody would sign up for that system. So reverse engineer it. Would talk to somebody. Would you sign that? And nobody in their right mind would say, yeah, I'd sign that. So good. Now you got the conversation up. They say, no, I wouldn't sign it. Well, fine. So why are we putting up with it now? And then you can start asking, well, what would it take to make you sign? What are the steps that would make you want to be a part of a federation? And that's where you can have a back and forth conversation, not in your face, not fanatical, but to get those gears turning, get people thinking. And when they start thinking about those things, that's when they start to really realize, wow, we are in a bad way. It's not getting better. And there's no way to change it with the makeup we have out here. By the way, I'll sidetrack for a second too to our friends in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's got as much support for this as Alberta. They need to push, similar to what I said in my first video, for a mechanism for citizens-initiated referenda legislation. They've got to push Scott Moe for that. Again, don't ask your premiers to go independence supporting. They're not going to. But they can give us the tools to do it. And Alberta, Premier Smith has done so. Saskatchewan needs it too. That's their step one now. We're in step two here in Alberta, but all these things that keep going on. How do we get to that tipping point where we'll feel comfortable and say, it's time to initiate the path to the referendum. Well, that, as I said, is up to us. And it's joining, again, other political associations. Join those groups, and you can join a number of groups. And the groups will come and go. There's good ones, there's bad ones. I think the APP is going to be around a long time, but who knows? But when you've built that true grassroots base of support, it won't matter if the groups implode or the political parties keep wasting their time with independence parties, because that support of individuals is there. Because when a referendum comes, that's what you need, is the population, not a party, not a group. But you need organizers for it. Don't forget, too, the scope of a referendum. If you jump into it, you trigger it. Okay, you did the petitions, and suddenly it's being held. Okay, we're going to have a vote 2 months from now. Well, the campaign begins. Well, who campaigns? Who speaks for it? What's the messaging going to be? Is there a get out the vote strategy from any organized group for it? Are there going to be door knockers? Are there going to be regions targeted for support? All of those things need to be done. And I tell you what, it takes a long time to organize that, because this is different than a party, but it's easier than a party in a lot of ways too. A political party runs a campaign, but they've got to run a pile of nominations all over the place. They got to do policy conventions. They have to run all sorts of stuff, and they go into an election, and they've got to run, in Alberta, 87 different little races. This is just one race with one target, and that's what I mean. Keep it that way. One target, independence, nothing else. But we aren't ready yet, but we can be. Support those groups, support those movements, and get out and spread the word. Make yourself that ambassador for it. Talk at the dinner table to people, and it takes time. It takes a few times to talk to somebody, but they're there. They're on the brink. But we need to move it, and we need to move it diplomatically. I guess you know what I'm talking about. When it's an ambassador, that means diplomacy. That means, again, not being in somebody's face, not screaming at them. The other thing is, if it's somebody you know is absolutely not interested whatsoever, don't waste your energy on them. Don't make them dig their heels, and just don't sweat it. Talk about sports or the weather or something. But if you got people a bit receptive to it, spread the word. That's how we're going to do this. So I'm going to do a series of these. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to do my self-serving plug again. I wrote a book on this, the Sovereigntist's Handbook. It's how, step by step, we can build that base and get to the finish line on this. But it's going to take proper actions with foresight and strategy. And right now we've got a bunch of people throwing spaghetti at a wall, and the excitement is fantastic. The intention, we've really got room to really blow it, and we can't allow ourselves to do that. So, buy the book. If not, just subscribe to this video series. I'm going to keep doing these and going step by step. Also, some of the talking points about how you can use it. The usual cases made against you, but you're landlocked. What will you do for military? All those things. That's covered in the book, and I'll cover them in videos. You don't have to buy the book. I'll go through these things because we got to train ourselves. This is a long haul. And don't let some of the people convince you that we've got to rush into this and get a referendum going right away. We've got a real opportunity. We got a real good chance, but we got to be patient. We got to do it right. We need out. We know that. And we need more people to know that. And it's our job to make those people realize this. We're going to get there, but do it smart. Because if we set it back, boy, there's no future for the young people. There's no standard of living. There's no controlling mass immigration. You're going to lose your property, your firearms, things like that. We've seen all that. It's going to continue. We need out. But we need to do it right. So, again, keep following these videos. Keep spreading the word. Keep getting out to the rallies. Yes, sign into groups so that you can help organize things. Just watch for some of them out there. And remember, those aren't petitions yet. People calling them that. The petition hasn't even started. We don't have the means yet. That has to go through the legislature. So give me feedback, sign up, keep watching. I'll keep putting videos out, and we're going to get this done, guys. But we got to be careful.